Hello, I'm Peter Sells, Vice President and Chief Fire Training Officer at FireRein. This training program will introduce users to the techniques and tactics of applying FireRein Eco-Gel to Class A fires. They will gain a full understanding of how Eco-Gel's stick and stay property extinguishes Class A fires, how to determine the proper Eco-Gel percentage for the task at hand. We will demonstrate the use of Eco-Gel for extinguishment of Class A fires, interior exposure protection, and exterior exposure protection. We will demonstrate salvage procedures during use of Eco-Gel, including management of runoff, overhaul procedures, and use of Eco-Gel to ensure full extinguishment, site scene and equipment cleanup after the use of Eco-Gel. The emphasis of this program is on safe, practical application, ensuring that users will be able to safely and efficiently apply FireRein Eco-Gel when called upon to do so. Eco-Gel can be proportioned using an inline eductor or an automatic proportioning system on board a fire apparatus. For the purpose of this video, we will be using an inline eductor. An inline eductor is an effective tool to proportion and apply FireRein Eco-Gel on Class A and Class B fires. Ideally, make sure that the nozzle and eductor have the same flow rating. Do not exceed 300 feet of 1.5 hose after the eductor. If you're using 1 3/4 inch hose, do not exceed 500 feet between the eductor and the nozzle. FireRein does not recommend the use of automatic flow nozzles with inline eductors. An inline eductor is an effective tool to proportion and apply FireRein Eco-Gel on Class A and Class B fires. Always make sure that the eductor is receiving the proper 200 psi inlet pressure for which it is designed. For exterior defensive operations, a percentage of 1% will give good penetration, good coverage, and adequate resilience to achieve rapid extinguishment in most situations. Remember that proper inline eductor operation requires that the nozzle bail be either fully open or fully closed. When applying a hit and hold fire blast, take care to fully open and then fully close the bail. For interior offensive operations, if the seat of the fire is readily and quickly accessible, and the fire is limited to one room or compartment, a quick hit and hold at 1% may be all that is needed for knockdown and extinguishment. Hit and hold is a quick 1 to 3 second fog blast to fill the room with droplets of hydrogel. If, at the discretion of the trained and practiced nozzle operator, this may be enough to knock down the room, a 1 to 3 second blast is applied, followed by a pause to allow the hydrogel to penetrate and set. This will take a maximum of 15 seconds. If a second fog blast or a targeted penetrating stream is required, the nozzle operator will have a clear view of the room following the initial hit and hold blast. For more aggressive interior operations, where the fire has extended beyond the room of origin, or the situation requires deeper entry by firefighters, or where rescues are required, fire attack can be combined with interior exposure protection.
Okay, get ready.
As firefighters enter down corridors or into interior rooms to reach occupants needing rescue, or to access the fire, Eco-Gel applied with a sweeping fog pattern at 3% to each compartment will help provide a safe means of egress. The resilient hydrogel coating will limit the extension of fire, which could otherwise trap firefighters in dangerous interior positions. If the size of the fire is too large for a hit and hold to be an effective safe tactic, approach the fire using a fog pattern at 1% or 3%, utilizing airflow to push the fire back.
Okay, there's your
As you
flash.
approach the base of the fire, narrow the stream to zero in and hit the seat of the fire.
Go!
All firefighting activities should be done in such a way as to minimize unnecessary damage. The use of Eco-Gel can help in this regard by reducing the amount of water needed to accomplish extinguishment. All firefighting activities should be done in such a way as to minimize unnecessary damage. The use of Eco-Gel can help in this regard by reducing the amount of water needed to accomplish extinguishment. Less water equals less water damage equals reduced salvage operations. It is important to mention that Eco-Gel is an inherently slippery substance. Judicious application, such as the hit and hold tactic described earlier, will not only limit precious water use, but will reduce slip hazards on the scene. During an aggressive interior rescue operation, salvage is less of a priority, but care should still be taken not to use Eco-Gel gratuitously when slip hazards are possible. All firefighting activities should be done in such a way as to minimize unnecessary damage. The use of Eco-Gel can help in this regard by reducing the amount of water needed to accomplish extinguishment. Less water equals less water damage equals reduced salvage operations. It is important to mention that Eco-Gel is an inherently slippery substance. Judicious application, such as the hit and hold tactic described earlier, will not only limit precious water use, but will reduce slip hazards on the scene. During an aggressive interior rescue operation, salvage is less of a priority, but care should still be taken not to use Eco-Gel gratuitously when slip hazards are possible. In order to select the appropriate percentage of Eco-Gel for the task in front of you, it is helpful to understand how Eco-Gel behaves and how it extinguishes fire. When Eco-Gel is flowing under pressure within the hose line, it has the viscosity of water. Once released from the nozzle, it will flow and penetrate like water for about 15 seconds before it sets in place. The viscosity of Eco-Gel allows it to stick and stay in place on horizontal, vertical, and overhead surfaces. Being over 90% water, this hydrogel layer continues to absorb heat and exclude oxygen, striking down two sides of the fire triangle simultaneously. The thicker the hydrogel, higher percentage, the more resilient will be the ability to stick and stay. The thinner the hydrogel, lower percentage, the greater the penetration of a straight stream or the coverage of a fog stream. Understanding the performance behavior of Eco-Gel will allow you to make good decisions on what percentage to use for each situation. Eco-Gel is an effective and environmentally benign agent which is ideally suited for application to brush, grass, or wildland interface fires. Being a bio-based product, there is no risk of environmental contamination from the use of Eco-Gel. Generally, a 1% concentration of Eco-Gel is appropriate for most brush fires or grass fires. This concentration is thin enough to provide very good coverage of grasses or other low vegetation, and thick enough to adhere to upper canopy layers of trees and high brush. Beware of over-application of Eco-Gel, which may make the surfaces of rocks slippery. Any structures, vehicles, or other properties which are threatened by advancing fire can be coated with Eco-Gel at 3% or 6% to provide a resilient hydrogel layer which can last for hours, dependent on weather conditions. A wide band of Eco-Gel applied at 3% to ground cover can create an effective fire break. Eco-Gel will not affect crops, groundwater, or aquatic ecosystems. After firefighting operations, flush the proportioning device, the eductor or onboard system, the hose and the nozzle with water, as per operating guidelines, and flow until there is no longer any hydrogel exiting the nozzle, plus another 30 seconds. Return all equipment to appropriate stowage as per your operating guidelines. If using an inline eductor, always make sure that the eductor is receiving the proper 200 psi inlet pressure for which it is designed. Ideally, make sure that the nozzle and eductor have the same flow rating. Try this out in training before you need it at a scene. FireRein does not recommend the use of automatic flow nozzles with inline eductors. If you are using 1.5 inch hose, do not exceed 300 feet of hose line between the eductor and the nozzle. If you're using 1 3/4 inch hose, you can go up to 500 feet between the eductor and the nozzle. Proper flushing and rinsing will ensure that no residues will accumulate that could interfere with proper operation of the eductor, proportioning system, or nozzle. For interior firefighting operations, the hit and hold tactic makes optimal use of Eco-Gel's properties for extinguishment and water reduction. Eco-Gel can be used to create a protected means of egress for firefighters and occupants on the interior of a burning structure. Eco-Gel can be applied for interior or exterior exposure protection as needed. Eco-Gel is a safe, environmentally benign agent for application to brush fires, grass fires, or wildland interface fires. For most Class A firefighting situations, FireRein Eco-Gel is a safe, effective agent which can quickly extinguish fires, reduce water use on scene, mitigate or eliminate environmental contamination, and can be used with standard firefighting apparatus and equipment. If you have any questions about anything presented in this video, please contact your FireRein representative and we will be happy to assist. FireRein wants you to be effective on the fire ground and above all, to be safe.